Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Do we sleep well? We sleep at all? Hard nights drinking on the tiles of Paris, I can imagine. You can hear some voices. I think there's something going on below us, which may be more interesting, I don't know. But I think if we all make a loud noise just to let them know we're here, can we have a big kind of cheer? Okay. That's told them. Okay, so this session we're going to be talking about collaborate to innovate. Innovation, the innovation we need to have, of course, is how to get more than one coffee machine that doesn't require us to be queuing up for an hour, or a lift that doesn't take an hour to get up and down. But let's leave that. Let's solve cinema's problems, and then we'll move into the hotel trade afterwards. So collaborate to innovate, for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure by the fact you're here, you've got a fair idea. This is something which was developed by members, for members, and was intended to address a reality that we were talking about yesterday, and which I think you all know well, which is trying to innovate and build a future art house cinema by art house cinema is extraordinarily difficult. They've got their revenge now. They've got a bass guitar out. They're going to start playing some by the European Commission, who I think have been really incredibly important on this. You know, they get that kind of vision, and that's what European Commission media support has all been about, really. Is that sense of that they can help us do the things that we need to do in order to change, to build our, to work on our core mission of increasing the reach of European film across borders. So the project was wide-ranging. You know, innovation is something which was quite broadly defined. Again, it had to support that mission of the idea that we could work together across borders and build ways to encourage new audiences. To develop that kind of cross-border reach for the work that we're doing, and to reach, I think, diversity and sustainability were really key words here. And they kind of come through the projects that have been successful. What we're hoping this session will do is really encourage those of you here who haven't yet developed a project but recognize the need, to see that this can be done. This can be done by cinemas like your cinema, and the value that you're going to get out of those things can be enormous. And what I urge you to do at the end of this session is to spend some time, go and grab the people who've done these projects, and make sure that you work out how those projects you have in your head can be realized within this scheme, because this has massive potential. And again, it's the support is there, the opportunities are there, and now you can build on the experience of people who've already done this. So I think that's the kind of intro to collaborate to innovate. I think the best thing is to see this in practice, and that's best done by talking to the projects who have been there and done it. And so we're going to start with Frédéric Cornet from Cinéma Galeries in Belgium. But actually, the project he's going to talk about, I think, has been really one of the success stories that we're showcasing as far as Collaborate to Innovate is concerned. So let me hand over to you, Frédéric, to explain.
So I'm wondering something. Should I, about the PowerPoint, will you do it yourself? Or is it going to be?
Have you got your clicker?
No, that's my question.
Where's that clicker gone?
I don't know.
Look, definitely have one. Quick, invent one. There we go.
So, and now does it work? Yeah, it's working. Hello everyone, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm Frédéric Cornet, I'm the Managing Director of Cinéma Galeries in Brussels. So the project that we launched with different cinemas that I'm going to mention later is we were like, we wanted to implement a card, an unlimited card for the art of cinema, independent cinemas in Brussels. So it's a project that we launched in June. And so I'm going to give a little bit the history of the project and how we started. So, not sure, like this way? So where should I end it, like that? Do it yourself. I'm just going to, I'm not sure where I should do it. Okay, good. So basically, in March 2021, we met with different cinemas. So at that time, it was Palace, Vendôme, Aventure, Nova. And we were thinking about how we can survive with the pandemic that we are, so we were closed at that time. And we were like thinking and brainstorming about how we can survive to that, because the habits of the customers have changed. They watch movies on the streaming platform and they have this unlimited subscription. And so we were just like thinking, oh, we can do something about that. We had the chance to have one distributor that distribute in both countries, so in the Netherlands and in Belgium, Cinéma, who said like there is an amazing project that has been working for many years, more than 10 years in the Netherlands. It's called Cinéville, and I think it's something that you should do together. So as before that, in February 2021, I was working with Frank Groot from Kino Rotterdam on writing the guidelines of Collaborate to Innovate. I called him and I said, like, you're from the Netherlands, can you help me getting in touch with Thomas? And he said, like, sure, we will do that together. So we get in touch, actually, the 19th of March with Thomas Hosman, who is the founder of Cinéville. So maybe I'm going to give you Cinéville, what it is. It's basically a network of cinema existing in the Netherlands. It's a brand and marketing tool, it's a website and magazine, and it's the unlimited card. So all that together is basically what is creating a sense of community around cinephile, people that really love to watch independent film and arthouse films. So it's something that we wanted to bring to Brussels. The story about Cinéville in the Netherlands is that it started with the network of cinema with 13 cinema in 2009, and then you can see that it increased, and it's still more actually right now. When I reflect about what was happening in Belgium, is like when they started, they had like 13 cinemas in Amsterdam. We actually, they have more cinema like building and opening. The contrary, in Belgium and in Brussels, we lost some cinemas in the last 10 years. So for us, it was really problematic to see that cinema were closing, and we thought that this possibility of having this unlimited card would actually help the cinemas, independent cinema, to stay alive and maybe to open, because like the market will be bigger. So I wanted to express also something that is really important. It's like in the process, we started in March 2021, and since then, with all the cinemas, we've been working hand by hand with the Cinéville team, and I wanted to show you a picture of them, quite young, enthusiastic people who share their experience and help us so much doing that. Maybe something that I want to say is like, in the process we faced so many things, and maybe that's what I have to share with you today, is like we got the subsidies from Europa Cinema. It was a good subsidy. We get 95,000 euros to launch the project. Then we had to find some other extra subsidies to finance that. We had some issues about thinking like, okay, maybe in kind is something possible. So basically, if we want, we find a sponsor that will give us a marketing campaign for free, would it be something that would work? Actually not. So it's something that was also, it was my first European project, so I didn't know that in-kind doesn't work. And also, in the process of how we should do that and how we would do it, we thought about, like we didn't hire a coordinator from the beginning because we were thinking first we have to launch a survey, know if the reality in Belgium is the same as in the Netherlands. Do people want to have this card? Is it the same reality? So we launched a survey. We did it ourselves, no coordinator at that time. So we were basically quite busy, all the cinemas doing that together. And then we decided to wait for the results of the survey to know if we would hire or not a coordinator. It took longer than expected. Why? Because basically we are all managers and we did many other things at that time. Lots of the things that were happening is also we were facing some like threats of reclosing the cinema at that time. So it was in the end of 2021. Actually, when we launched the survey, we launched it in the end of October. We wanted to let it go until November, but then the government decided, okay, we are going to close the cinema, and then we resisted. The cinema resisted and said we are going to remain open, but we wanted this support from our community to really increase the response to the survey. So basically, and it worked really well because we doubled the response of the survey. And then afterwards, I think it was end of January, we got the results and we're just like, okay, so the response is really good from our customers and the people really want to know if we are going to do that. So let's do it. So we started to hire a coordinator at that time. It was a brilliant person that stayed only for like a couple of weeks because she was proposed another work at that time, and so we had to start over again with someone else. So we had some delays, and it was really short, to be honest. Like we got the response, I think in July, yeah, end of July, and we had to finish the project by the end of June, and it was really short. So what I would say in my experience is, and we shared in the feedback that we had with the other cinemas, is that we should have prepared way in advance. Like the timeline should have been precise and just like where to find the other subsidies. Because as I mentioned, we thought that like the 30% extra of the Collaborate to Innovate, we could do it in kind, but actually we needed to find some extra money. So this extra money, we had to find it. We were super lucky, actually, that the government wanted to support us, the local powers, I would say, like the region of Brussels wanted to support us. So it was really something amazing, but still some delays. And when the card is getting really like it's gonna happen, we faced another thing. So one of the cinema left us just before we launched, and so we had 25% less of the European cinema subsidies. He joined us afterwards, but he left at that moment, and also, to be honest, on my board, Cinéma Galeries, my bosses, they were a bit like, he left. Do you think it's the right thing to do? It's like, yes, we have to do it. And I have to thank so much the two other remaining cinema, the three other remaining cinema, which is Vendôme, Palace, and Kinograph, to be really strong and say, we have to do it, we have to do it. So we convinced also my board to continue. So basically we were continuing with that, but we had a really short time. The thing is, like, we were thinking about many things at the beginning, and we decided to really work with Cinéville with even closer and stronger relationship, in the sense that at the beginning was that, like, we were thinking about another name and that what we could do together, but in the end, we decided, okay, we give you the marketing part. We're just gonna do as much as we can as being us, just like find the subsidies to have like a proper organization that will deal with the project afterwards. So basically, we were super like supported by Cinéville. It was really great at that time, and the consequences of that, I will explain later, were really great. So this is an idea of what we wanted to do, full operation for film, and it's the 3 cinemas that opened at that time, like that accepted the Cinéville card. Was for all the summer. So only 3 cinemas. It's not enough, but it was still okay for the summer. We had a special program. We did a lot. Then afterwards, this is the campaign that we launched in the beginning of, when we started in September, October. And then you can see that some of the cinemas joined us. So the 3 first one, but then Aventure, who was with us in the project, building the project at the beginning, came back. We had Ciné Flagey and Nova that joined us. And that's the campaign that we did. This is a good campaign. We really love it, but we thought, like, I'm gonna explain later. It's really nice to have like this target audience that we want to have young people coming back to cinema. But the thing is like it was really, really expensive to make it. So basically, we decided maybe we could find another way to do things differently. And so, yeah, I'm going to explain afterward that. But this is our website. This is the cinema that are part of that. You can subscribe directly on the website, and you can see the cinema. And soon we will have the program of all the cinemas in the website. Lucky enough, like last 2 days ago, actually, the Cinematheque, the biggest Cinematheque in Europe with the biggest archive, join us, and that's also a really good input that we have. Like the value of the card is stronger, and I think there is lots of cinemas that are really interested in joining us afterwards. So this is a thing that is so good. Maybe I'm going to show you this. How do you play that? Can you play it? Yeah. There is no sound. Well, still, it doesn't matter. This is a campaign that actually Cineville in the Netherlands made and give us... yeah. So it's written, if you don't read French, that you can enjoy unlimited films in Brussels from 18 euros, 18 euros a month. The price is 18 euros for minus 26 and 21 euros for above. I have to go faster, okay. I'm gonna finish soon, but I wanted to, just to let you know something that is maybe the most interesting thing. Yeah, so basically, this is the first, her name is Olivia. She's the first one, the first user of the Cineville card in Brussels. It was in my cinema. I was at the ticket office at that moment. I was just like, you are the first one. It's you. It's exactly your target audience, a young person. So she went to watch a movie, Il Buco, and I wanted to have her because I wanted to take a picture of her. So I went to her and I said, like, can I take a picture of you? She's like, I don't feel comfortable. I'm sorry. She went to the toilet. She came back and said, honestly, it's the best thing that happened to Brussels, so please take a picture of me and share it with everyone. So I'm really happy that I can say that it's exactly what we wanted to bring to Brussels. It's like this possibility of encouraging the cinephilia of the people, these moviegoers that want to watch films and to attract a younger audience. I'm done. I'm sorry, I was a bit too long.
Oh, that was pretty good, actually. Thank you. Okay, so before we take questions, a couple of things. First of all, the details of what you do to, what the rules are, how you do this, they're all on the Europa Cinema's website. It's worth looking at what is eligible, what isn't eligible, how the match funding works, and so on. But there are a couple of immediate things that I think leap out. First of all, this was a project that you know you needed. You're addressing a real-world problem that you were already trying to work out how to do. And I think those of you who are looking at potential projects, that notion that that here's something that you know has to be done. Standing still is not an option for many people right now, I think, in the business. And having that opportunity to develop something like this, I think, was really important. The second thing is data. I think you talked about that, the ability and opportunity within this project to actually find things out that you assumed, but actually building on realities rather than on assumptions, I think is really important. And the third thing that I think leaps out to me is that you started on a path that hadn't been well trodden. You know, it was a difficult path where there were problems and issues along the way, but the inspiration of Cineville also inspired then other projects. We heard about the one in Austria, and I think that's something you should all bear in mind. If there's a project that you're seeing that's already there, where these first pioneers had set the way, if you can find ways to adapt that and find new approaches for your market, particularly if you're outside those big countries, you know, if you're in parts of Central and Eastern Europe, the new Europe, I think there are opportunities that are in there. So all those are really good. And let me see if there's some questions first. Otherwise, I'm going to ask you one. Yes. Who's got some? Anyone got a question they want to ask? Yes. Hold on, we'll wait for the microphone and do a quick.
Do you want to take this one?
Yeah. And if you can quickly introduce yourself as well. I know you're going to be introducing yourself again in a moment.
Hello, my name is PIEN from the Netherlands. Cineville has been in Holland for quite a few years, and there are a lot of card holders in the Netherlands. Can they also go to Brussels, to your theater, with their card?
It's going to be possible soon. Yeah, it's going to be. Actually, there are some people coming with the card from the Netherlands, and we say like, not yet. Like for now, we just need to link the technology. When I say we, it's Thomas. And you mentioned maybe that Austria is also launching and with the same technology, so the possibility also to go to Vienna and watch film might be possible in some time. So it's really good thing. Maybe just some results about the cards, if you are wondering. So we have more than 2,000 subscribers right now, and the people tend to go quite okay to the cinema. So they don't go too much, not too few. Like it's really good. They go 2.3 or 2.4 times a month, which is really good. And the way we pay the cinema is like we give like right now we fixed the price at €6. So each time someone comes, €6 for the cinema. So it's also good for the some people ask for about distributors. So it's quite transparent with the distributor. They know how much they will get, and then each cinema have this own, how can I say, that percentage that they deal with the distributor. So it's something that it's still private for the cinema. But the thing is, like, we express them with full transparency. This is what we are going to give. We have a fixed amount, also a fixed percentage for the running costs. It's between 10 and 15%. All extras will go back to the cinema. If it goes back to the cinema, it will go back to the distributor, go back to the producer, go back to the authors. So basically, it's all the industry that is supported with this kind of model.
Okay, I've got one question for you. So the unique thing, I think, about this from the media support point of view is it's seed funding. It's not that old. It's not waiting for things to happen and be completed. It is about setting projects up. But I think a critical part of it is what happens afterwards. So for those of you who are thinking an experiment might be difficult, I can only get to this point, and I'd really like to go much further. You've developed it to point A. That's the program. It's taking you to this point. What comes next? How do you develop and build on that platform? What's your ambition now to take this forward over the next year?
So right now we covered all the independent cinemas in Brussels. The idea is to reach Flanders and to reach Wallonia. So we'll have a focus soon with the Flanders. There will be a breakfast, and then we will present. So Thibaut Kirinen will present that, and so we were just going to see if they're interested. But I already know that some exhibitors in Flanders are interested, so we're just going to work with them. And so it's going to be like country covered, and then we can link with the Netherlands, and afterwards, probably if it's possible, we will do a European card, and we can go in any countries. Like, might be a good option.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, Frédéric. That's a really great start and a big project for us. So, round of applause.
Thank you.
So, no, go and sit there. We might bring you up at the end when we've got some questions. So, for everyone, but PIEN HOUTHOFF, if you can come up, managing and artistic director of Lux in Nijmegen in the Netherlands. Again, I think you're going to get a strong feeling here of the range of the projects that we're talking about. So, PIEN.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is PIEN HOUTHOFF, director of Lux, a large cinema in Nijmegen, the Netherlands, a venue with 8 screens. We not only have a cinema function, but also a hall for theater programming, theater performance, debate programming, and a local as well as a regional function for film education. I'm here to tell you more about our Collaborate to Innovate project called Hybrid Futures for European Cinemas. During the COVID period, we started looking for a way to continue to reach our audiences even during lockdowns and restricted conditions. Through live streams and also on-demand content, fully online and also in hybrid form. With our plan, we were part of the first round of applications from Collaborate to Innovate. The project is a collaboration between 14 independent cinemas in the Netherlands, so a national cooperation. The project consists of the implementation of a common technical system called the container that combines several technical tools and platforms, linking them to each other behind the scenes. It is a way to make specific programming accessible for your audiences in the familiar surroundings of the website of your own cinema. Oh, let me see if this works. Yeah. Oh. This looked differently than at home on my laptop. Okay. The functions include the possibility to combine the screening of an online film from various providers, such as YouTube and Vimeo, but also directly from distributors, festivals, or video-on-demand platforms. Your ticketing system, a chat function, and different social media channels, which you can offer as live stream or on-demand, embedded in your own website. This way, your public doesn't need to log into different systems and switch from one website or platform to another, but can stay in the familiar surroundings of the website of your cinema. Examples of the programming are an introduction to a film, a Q&A after the screening of a film course, a film quiz, a debate on a film, and so forth, all with the possibility for the online viewers to ask questions. And in a hybrid situation, a combination of questions from the live audiences in the venue combined with questions from online public. Aim is to reach a wider audience and to bite audiences to the cinema. A film-loving audience that is not always able to come to the cinema for whatever reason, but still would like to stay connected and up to date. And to collaborate with a larger group of cinemas and festivals in the Netherlands and eventually maybe even in European context. We started a few pilot projects early this year, individual projects realized by one of the cinemas, mainly the online screening of a film followed by Q&A in a hybrid form. In addition to these individual projects, the container also provides the possibility to collaborate in the presentation of programs with partners, not only with the participating cinemas, but also in a broader context, with film festivals and other organizations. One of the parties creates the content, which is then also made accessible for the other partners. Last September, in response to the passing of Jean-Luc Godard, we organized a film course on him as a director. There was a lot of attention in the press on his passing. Many articles were written about him, and there was a lot of television coverage. As a cinema, you would like to anticipate on this moment as soon as possible. With the container, we were able to offer an online film course on Godard on the website of the cinema within a few days. You can see the film moderator, the film course moderator on the right side. The recording of the film course was arranged within 2 days. It took us the same amount of time to prepare the marketing and place it on our websites. A few weeks ago, we had a great collaboration with ITVA, the International Documentary Film Festival in Amsterdam. ITVA offered films from their program online, daily, available for 5 hours a day, with an introduction from one of the ITVA programmers and a Q&A with the director afterwards. The films were offered on the website of the film festival and also on the websites of several of the participating cinemas to attract local public to the national event. These are 2 examples of possibilities of the container, showing that working together provides opportunities and eventually could ensure regular program offerings. So, looking back on the process and our current situation. When we started, we were mainly focused on the problems of implementing the technical part. It was a collaboration of 14 cinemas with 5 different ticketing systems, 14 different websites with 11 different web designers, 14 project leaders, each with their own organization, with several departments involved, and furthermore, the technical organization that developed and built the container system. Pretty complicated and also quite a large project, as you can imagine. As a result of our focus on the technical part, we spent less time initially on the long term, on creating content and on how to promote it properly. Additionally, the obstacle in the last year was the turbulent situation we were all experiencing after long periods of lockdowns and restricted circumstances, all that we're talking about in these days. The reopening took a lot of our attention, and most of us are still up against a disappointing number of visitors. We all want to draw audiences back into our cinemas, especially live audiences. In general, the big risk we face now is that we focus on the current situation and don't prioritize these explorations while we so desperately need these projects to give us tools for a changing future. In our specific situation, it means that the follow-up is just as important as the implementation, in fact, even more important. We've made a start with a great collaborating project, but for it to work well, we need regular programming and we need to bind the interested viewers. That's our current challenge. We have frequent conversations on how to find ways for better use of the container and are working on a continuation. In the future, we will try to collaborate with more film festivals and test if video on demand offerings on our own websites are possible. In the meantime, we continue to create content and share where possible. So, if you consider to apply for future calls, which I would recommend everybody to do, it is important to look at the long term. In terms of long-term budgets, the partners you want to work with, and the coordination of the project. It is also important to consider what your audience would like. What do they want? What is complementary on the already existing situation? How can you engage your public? To conclude, I'm finished. To conclude, the Collaborate to Innovate calls from Europa Cinemas provide us with opportunities to react to changing audiences and to discover new ways of programming. It urges us to look at our long-term existence in a changing world. All the innovative opportunities can help us with our search, a search which is best made together. Many thanks to Europa Cinemas for the chance to explore and to share the outcomes. Thank you.
Okay. Really good presentation again, and I think again you're seeing the real life issue that's being developed. In this case, I think we're all talking about events at the moment, but it's more than this. This is about how do we create this? How do we extend the social space of cinema so that we talk about how it's a social experience, yes. But actually you've developed something which takes that in an efficient way that's integrated with lots of people, so that you're extending the conversation, which I think is critical to what we're trying to do.
Yes, it's binding the audiences and widening the audience. There are lots of people that are interested that don't live nearby our cinema, so we want to reach them also. Yeah.
Any questions on how? Yes.
Thank you. Eric from Belgium, Brussels, the Palace. Just a question, how do you monetize this project? For example, the courses on Godard, is it free for the audience, or do you?
Yeah, we started with a free exit to a free, how do you say that?
Access.
Access, thank you very much. Free access for the course, and after a few days we asked some money for tickets to be able to see if it changes, if people want to pay for the if there's a revenue, a business model in this. And you see that when we asked for payment, it went down, the viewers went down. So for us, it's a real struggle to see what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah. Thank you.
And just to be clear, that's a really important part of this, is experimenting. Not everything is going to succeed. The idea of research and development is to try things. That's what this is about. It's not about surefire hits. It's about developing things which actually work. Does anyone have any other questions? I just want to take with each of you just a small point. So you've got with this, each project, and again, go onto europecinemas.com. There's a whole section which I think you're going to find really useful. Having a project manager in place, setting objectives, and setting budgets which actually work and are viable and realistic. Just quickly from your point of view, the challenge of the budget, setting a realistic budget. How did you go about doing that, and what are the challenges?
Well, setting the budget primarily was rather easy. The biggest costs were the technical part. But as I said before, the real challenge is the long-term budget, because now, you know, the subsidy from Europa Cinemas is finished, and now we need content, and to realize content is also a very expensive way of offering content. So that's the challenge now. We need to focus on what kind of content is interesting and how we can make that payable.
Yeah, it's a really big tip. So set yourself a realistic budget for the process, but do
also,
think beyond that to how
term,
that's going to turn out.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, any other questions? Oh, we do have one question. We got time for a quick question.
Thierry Beaujard, Spielfabrik in Germany. I wanted to know if you made some connection with non-film activities outside the film sector to see if you can connect other type of communities.
Yeah, so we have not only a cinema but also debate programming, and what we did is a lot of debates, especially local talk shows. We offered them online, also for free. So that worked really well. There were a lot of people watching there. Thousands of people watched that kind of offering. It's possible, yes. But the main thing here is that you can combine the ticketing with the content.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, and again, partnership is really critical here. You've built
Partnership is
partnerships on the back
essential,
of
yes,
this. Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much,
Thank
Pien.
you.
And next up, we have Lise Mignot from Café des Images here in France.
Bonjour, bonjour à toutes, bonjour à tous. Je vais parler en français. Merci aux équipes d'Europa Cinéma de m'avoir invité.
I'd like to thank
Merci à Michael de toute sa
Cinemas for
bienveillance. On
inviting
va
me. Thank
commencer
you,
par
Michael,
écouter
for
une
being
minute
that
de
kind.
son.
And we're going to listen to something for 1 minute to start with.
Cinéma en Europe. Le Café des Images, c'est un cinéma innovant, ouvert sur le monde et ancré dans son territoire. Dans ce cinéma monde, la salle respire profondément avec la société autour. Je suis Élise Mignot, je dirige le Café des Images à Hérouville-Saint-Clair. Ce lieu, cette ville, c'est la garantie de croiser le monde entier au coin de la
This is at the crossroads of many roads. Episodes after episodes, with the team of Le Café, we're going to meet those with whom we've changed our approaches. Le Café des Images. El Café de los Imágenes.
Café des Images. The coffee of the images.
Merci, merci beaucoup. Voilà, donc je passe direct. Voilà, l'idée, elle est partie d'où de ce projet, vous l'avez compris, de son. Cinéma sur écoute, c'était une réflexion sur le fait que, évidemment, le cinéma, c'est de l'image, mais c'est aussi du son. Et quand je suis arrivée, moi, au Café des Images, il y a un peu plus de 4 ans, je suis tombée sur une sorte de trésor, des centaines d'enregistrements sonores. Dès lors, je me suis demandé ce que nous pourrions faire pour faire vivre le son dans la salle de cinéma. Et en chemin, j'ai croisé aussi beaucoup d'autres, enfin quelques autres collègues
Along the
exploitants de
way,
salles
I
de
came
cinéma
across other
exploitantes
colleagues
qui se posaient les
who were
mêmes
also
questions, qui
exhibitors,
s'intéressaient à
and
ces
they were
questions du son.
asking themselves the
Par
same
ailleurs, nous
questions. They were
partagions
thinking about the
aussi l'idée que nos
soundtracks.
salles étaient
And
des
also,
lieux
we were
diffuseurs, mais
sharing similar
devaient,
ideas. We were saying
pouvaient
that
s'autoriser
these
à être aussi
would
des
be
lieux de
used for
création
screening, but
de
also
contenu.
for creation in
Donc
general,
quand
to
l'appel
create
à
content.
projet Collaborate
So
to
when the
Innovate a
call
été lancé,
for projects was
nous avons
launched,
décidé de
Collaborate
construire
to
ensemble une
Innovate,
sorte de projet
we
pilote
decided
qui
together
nous
to
permette
hatch a pilot
d'expérimenter
project so
plusieurs
as to
pistes
try
autour
out
de
a number of
ces
things, a
intuitions
number of
que
avenues
nous avions
on the
déjà
basis of these
partagées, sur
intuitions
lesquelles
we
nous avions
shared
déjà
beforehand,
échangé. Alors, pour
intuitions for
rappel,
which
j'ai mis
we had
quelques
organized
chiffres quand même
debates.
importants sur
Now,
l'industrie
these
du
are some
podcast.
important
C'est une
numbers about
industrie
podcast.
naissante qui
It's
est
a
aujourd'hui en
nascent
pleine expansion
industry,
et qui cherche
which
encore
is
ses modèles
booming
économiques.
today, that's
Nous, en
still
tant que
looking
salle,
for a
on voulait
business
aussi
model.
être présents dans
Well,
cette recherche de modèles
we also,
économiques
as a
pour
cinema,
ambitionner
wanted
de
to
faire une
be
place
a
à la
partner
salle
there, or rather to be a
dans cette
stakeholder,
industrie-là.
because we
Et en
wanted to
France, la
join this
dernière
industry
étude
as
sur le
well. And in
podcast,
France,
parue en
the latest
2022,
podcast
donne
survey that was
quelques
published
chiffres
in
forts. C'est un
2022 has
mouvement
given us
massif. Il y a plus
interesting
de
numbers.
200
This is a
000
massive trend.
podcasts qui sont
More than
écoutés chaque
200
mois.
million
Et puis, c'est un mouvement
podcasts
qui
to
touche
listen to
particulièrement
each
les
month.
jeunes,
And this
puisque
is a trend mainly
60%
for the
des
youth.
auditeurs et des auditrices
60%
ont
of
entre
the
15 et
viewers or the
34 ans.
listeners are in between 15
Avec qui
and
on a partenarié? Donc,
34.
nous étions 3
Now,
salles
who
de
are our
cinéma.
partners? We had three cinemas.
Nous nous sentions en proximité de
We
penser
felt
autour de ces questions.
we were
Nous
very much in
évoluions dans des
sync,
territoires très
thinking along
différents.
the same
Et
lines,
surtout, nous
yet
étions en
we were
grande
covering
confiance
different
pour traverser
territories.
ce genre
But we
d'aventure
had gained
collective, ce que je recommande
trust
aussi beaucoup.
to
Donc, le Café
embark
des
on this
Images à
collective
Hérouville,
adventure, the
le
Café des
TNB,
Images
c'est
at
le Théâtre
Hérouville,
National
the
de Bretagne
TNB,
à Rennes,
Théâtre National de
et le
Bretagne, in the
cinéma
town
de
of
Zola
Rennes,
à
and
Villeurbanne.
Le
Et
Zola,
puis,
a
on s'est
cinema in
associé
the
à un
town of
studio de
Villeurbanne.
podcast,
And we
Narration,
worked with a
qui
podcast
travaille
studio called
spécialisé en
Narration,
cinéma, que
and they're
nous avions rencontré
specialized
au sein de
in
l'incubateur
the film
Futura de
industry.
Cinéma,
They
et
were
avec
working
lequel
with
nous avions déjà
Futura
commencé à
Cinema
imaginer des
Incubator,
actions
and we
sonores qui prendraient
started
place et
working
vie
with them to
dans la salle
think
de
about
cinéma.
soundtracks that we could reuse in our cinemas.
Alors comment on a
Now, how then?
décidé de lancer plusieurs
How
chantiers
did we
en
decide to
parallèle,
launch
avec
these
toujours cette idée de
parallel
projet pilote. Le
workshops?
premier
Well, the
enjeu,
idea was
c'était
a
vraiment
pilot project. The first
d'acculturer nos
thing
salles de
that
cinéma
was
à la
important for
question
us
du son.
was to make
Donc, on est
sure
parti sur
that
des
we
questions
would
de
know how to
production.
use
Vous avez commencé à
soundtracks or
entendre
sound. So we
la
started with
série
production. Well,
collaborative de
you've
podcasts qu'on fait
listened
ensemble
to the
pour faire
podcast
entendre ce qui se
collaborative
passe dans les salles de
series that
cinéma en
we've
Europe.
developed so that
Et
people
l'idée, c'est qu'avec
hear what
cette
people
série,
say
ce qu'on ne pouvait
at
pas
the
faire
cinema
tout
in
seul,
Europe.
on pouvait par
Now,
contre le
this is
faire à
something we couldn't
plusieurs.
have done on our own,
C'est-à-dire que
but
créer
together we
15
could do that.
épisodes par
That
an
is, we
pour
could create
une seule
15
salle,
episodes
vous le savez,
annually
c'est
for
très
one
compliqué.
cinema.
Alors qu'on est trois,
It's
enfin,
very
on est 5 par
complicated.
an.
But
Et
if
puis, on
we're
espère que
three
ça va
partners, we
grandir et
can
qu'on
have
pourra être plus
5
nombreux
a
pour créer
year.
les
We
suivants.
hope it's going to go. We hope we'll have
Il y
more
avait
people
une
with
question
us
de
in the
formation,
future.
donc on a aussi
And then the
profité
question
de
also was that
l'occasion
of
pour former
training.
nos équipes
We seized
avec
this
une résidence
opportunity to
commune
train
qu'on a
our
tenue à
teams.
Rennes avec tous les
And we
partenaires.
were in the town of
Définir
Rennes
ensemble
with
une
all the
ligne
partners
éditoriale
in
commune avec
Brittany.
des couleurs
We
différentes pour chaque
defined our
salle. Et
editorial
pour
line
apprendre
with
ce que
different
c'est un
colors
podcast,
depending
comment on
on
enregistre un
the
son, comment on
theatres.
le
We
communique
had
aussi.
to learn everything about
On a fait aussi
podcasts, how to
l'expérience des
record
résidences sonores.
and sounds, and
Chaque
also we
cinéma
had
a reçu
the
un
sound
artiste sonore pendant 5
residences.
jours dans sa
Each
salle.
cinema was
L'idée,
with
c'était que ces
a sound
croisements-là, ils
artist for
pouvaient à la
5 days.
fois acculturer,
And thanks
sensibiliser
to
nos
these
équipes
debates,
au
people,
son, mais aussi les
or
artistes
rather
sonores,
our
à ce qu'est une
teams,
salle de cinéma
learned
et à
more
imaginer ce qu'on peut y
about
faire.
sounds and
Et
vice
puis enfin,
versa.
on s'était donné
People
une sorte
from
de
the sound
carte
business
blanche pour
heard about
expérimenter
our
avec le
cinema
public
business,
les
and then we
écoutes
had
de son dans
a
la
carte
salle.
blanche
Donc
so
là, on
that
a fait
together with
plein
the
de
audiences
petites
we
choses
could
très
listen to
diverses tout au
soundtracks
long du parcours
in the
qui vont de
cinemas.
l'écoute de
We
séances
did
de
all sorts of
podcasts en
things.
salle
We listened to
à la création
podcasts
d'avant-séances
in the
sonores
theatre
pour
rooms,
des films
but
européens
also we did other things
qu'on
for
a mis en
European
place tout au long
films
du
as
projet.
well that were developed throughout the project.
Si l'expérience a été belle,
This was a nice experience, I must say.
I
recommend that you should do the same. Yet, there are a number of do's and don'ts, things that we have to be very vigilant about if you want to jointly collaborate to innovate projects. There are 4 things we have to pay attention to. First, the partners, as I said before. You have to trust the partners so that you can embark on that type of project. And then it was a bit of a tricky moment when the cinemas reopened. People sometimes changed jobs and positions, but everybody was solid and everybody had this desire to move forward and to deploy the project. So things went on quite smoothly. And then week in, week out, we had a Zoom meeting
tenir ce lien tout au
so that
long du
we
projet.
could keep in touch
La
throughout
deuxième question,
the
c'est
length
celle
of
de
the project.
l'ambition.
The
Je
second
pense que nous avons été
point
beaucoup
is
trop
that of
ambitieux
ambition.
en
I think we
ouvrant
were
vraiment
too
beaucoup de chantiers
ambitious.
différents.
We were considering so
Donc,
many
quand il a
avenues
fallu
or
partir, on s'est dit OK, on les
projects.
séquence, on
And
fait un
when
par
we
un.
thought, okay, this
Mais
is
si
the
j'ai
go
un
day,
conseil à vous donner, c'est
but
plutôt de
then
faire
we'll have to
simple
do
et de se
things
dire peut-être il y a un chantier à
one thing
travailler
at a time.
ensemble.
Do things in a simple
Troisième
way and
point
work on
difficile, c'était celui
one
du
project
calendrier.
rather than
Je crois que
several
tout
at
le
the
monde en
same
a
time.
parlé
The
ici. Le
third
calendrier était
difficulty
extrêmement
is
court.
the timeline. How much time
Il
do
a
you have? We
croisé
didn't have
aussi
much
la
time.
réouverture
And I
des
must say
cinémas
as
qui a
well that
demandé une énergie
cinemas started
folle
to
par
reopen and
ailleurs.
therefore we had
Donc,
to use quite a lot
nous
of our energy
sommes
on that.
parvenus à tenir ce
And
calendrier, mais au prix
we managed to stick to
d'efforts
our
colossaux
deadlines,
que je ne
but we had
recommande
to
à
make
personne.
colossal
Et
efforts.
puis
This is
enfin, la
something I
question
don't
du
recommend
budget.
you should do.
Alors,
And then finally,
nous avons
the
été, il faut le
budget.
dire, des sortes de cobayes de Collaborate to
Well, we were
Innovate.
like
Et même en
guinea
étant
pigs for
habitués, même en ayant
Collaborate
déjà
to
fait des
innovate.
projets européens, nous n'avions
Even
pas
though
pris
we'd worked
conscience
at
de
a
plusieurs
European
points
scale, we'd
importants.
not
Donc,
realized
je
that
vais
several
noter
points
ici
were very important.
l'éligibilité de certaines
For
dépenses
instance,
qui sont pourtant
some
fondamentales sur tout type de
expenses that
projet.
are
Et
fundamental
puis,
for
sur le
some
temps
projects
ramassé, la difficulté à pouvoir
that you have to be aware of.
cofinancer
And when you don't have
partenariat,
much
le
time,
projet.
you have to have a co-funding
Ce sont à
of
mon
the
sens
project
deux
or the
pistes
partnership.
d'amélioration du
These
programme
are
à
two
penser
things that
vraiment
we
pour
could
l'avenir
improve for the
et à
program
penser
that
aussi
we have to
vous qui
think
vous
about
lancez
for our
pour être
future.
vraiment prêt au
And if
moment
you want to
de
get
déposer la
started,
candidature.
that's something to think about before
Voilà, je
you
vais
enroll
terminer
or
avec
before you
l'enjeu
apply.
à venir
And now, what
pour nous, c'est
next?
de poursuivre
Well,
évidemment
for
avec
us,
toutes ces
what
briques qui ont
is
été
important is
posées.
to continue with
Et
all
puis
the
le prochain
building blocks that we
rendez-vous,
already
donc on a
have.
un
And the
épisode de
next
podcast
date
qui
for
sort
us,
chaque
well, you
mois.
know,
Le
we have
prochain
a
sort
podcast
mercredi
episode,
prochain.
and next one will
Donc je
be
vous
next
propose de le
Wednesday.
découvrir sur
That's
toutes
when
les
it's going to be
plateformes de
released.
podcast.
You
L'idée
can
de
use
cette
all the
série, je vous l'ai
podcast
dit, c'est qu'on
platforms to
a
view that.
envie
Now, the
aussi que
objective in
d'autres
this
salles de
series
cinéma
is
se
that
joignent à nous
we
à l'avenir.
want other cinemas
En
to join
France,
us as
évidemment,
well.
mais
In
aussi en
France, of
Europe et
course,
surtout en
but
Europe.
also in
Donc
Europe,
n'hésitez pas à nous
and
faire
mainly
signe
in
si vous le
Europe.
souhaitez.
So don't
On
hesitate.
reparte ensemble
Knock at our doors if you want to
série
work
de
with
podcasts.
us
Merci.
and if you want to develop these series of podcasts.
Wonderful. Elise, thank you so much. As again, I think in this case, as you say, maybe a little overambitious as it went on, but actually, again, it's about redefining and rethinking the cinema space and the value that is created, which isn't just the films on screen. There is something broader and a different approach to marketing. The other thing I think that really comes across in this and the other projects is real collaboration. You've got to find partners that actually willing to do this, but the economies of scale and the shared enthusiasm is really critical. And those of you who are thinking about these projects here, you are in a perfect environment. This can be like Art House Tinder, this conference. You can be going out and finding partners. Look at the row behind you. There's going to be people all over that you can work with, but finding that partnership is important. From your point of view, you need a good project manager, don't you? In order to hold those partnerships together, I just wonder how you ensured that where enthusiasm perhaps had drifted or the other or other day-to-day concerns came in, how does the project manager keep everyone on board?
That's an interesting question. You know, we all face the time issue in our field, and having a project manager, having someone in your team, which was what we prepared first. Then this someone was sick for a long time, which was complicated for us. But having someone on your team in charge of the project and having someone in charge of the finance administration on the other side, I think 2 persons should be a minimum on the pilot, and 2 different persons in case you need to take over the flow of work coming.
Yeah, a really important tip there. And again, you can read lots of these, the case studies and things on the Europa Cinema's website, but the importance of having leadership and having a stable leadership is there. Any questions for Elise? No? Okay. Well, thank you, Elise. That's fantastic. So next up, we have Barbara Fernández VILARINO. Is that okay? Practicing all morning. From Golem, Madrid in Spain.
Hi, hola. Lo has dicho bastante bien. Mi nombre es Bárbara Fernández Vilariño y vengo de España,
Hello,
vengo
as
de
you
Madrid,
said,
vengo de los
my
cines
name
Golem, que
is
son unas salas
Barbara
de
Fernandez
50 metros
Villarino.
centro de la
I'm
ciudad,
coming
que son
from
muy
Madrid.
pequeñitas,
Golem
pequeñitas,
cinemas, we have 5
como un reducto
in
de
the
la
city
versión
centre. They're
original
very
en España.
tiny cinemas.
Vengo a hablaros de un proyecto que se
And
llama
how
ITEC
should I say?
Cinemas, un proyecto que nos pilló
We
como
are
a todos
like
mis
an
compañeros en
original
el peor
version
momento
of
que puede
cinemas.
pasar de la
Now,
historia
I'll be talking about Tech
del mundo,
Cinema,
que es en plena
IT
pandemia.
Cinema, which is a project that
Hubo un día que nos
surprised
llamaron por
us
teléfono, nos escribieron
when the COVID
un
hit.
mail
One day, people
desde
called
Europa
us on the
Cinemas,
phone, or rather,
contándonos
we
Fátima e
received
Irene
an
que
email
había un nuevo proyecto,
from
colaborar para innovar.
Europa
Entonces,
Cinema, Fatima and
nos dijeron
Irene,
una cosa que sí
said,
que era
okay,
verdad,
we
que
have a new
la
project called
documentación para
Collaborate to Innovate.
presentarnos era muy fácil,
And we
muy
were told
sencilla.
something that
Y
was
así es.
really
La
interesting.
documentación era lo
The
único fácil y
documents are
sencillo del proyecto.
easy to obtain and get. That's true. The
En esa reunión
dossier
estábamos los ingenieros
was the
españoles
simplest
nos
part of
dimos
the project, I
cuenta
must say. And during the meeting, well, we had several
con mi
Spaniards during
compañera
the
Beatriz
meeting we
Ardáiz, que es la que
organized,
me ha
and we
ayudado a llevar
realized,
el proyecto a
together
cabo,
with my colleague, that is
em,
Patricia Ardaiz, the one
que
who
teníamos
helped me
todos
manage the
un
project, we
objetivo,
realized, as I was
problema
saying,
común, que era la
that
falta
we were all sharing the same
de
objective,
llegar a las audiencias
and
jóvenes.
or we were sharing
Necesitábamos
the same
atraer las
concern,
audiencias
and the
jóvenes
concern
y eso era lo que nos
was
unía a todos los
that
exhibidores.
we didn't really
Entonces,
have any contact with the
en esos
youngest
momentos de pandemia
audiences.
tan brutal,
And that's what
en
all
las salas de cine
cinemas were
españolas, aparte teníamos
experiencing.
restringidos
And
los
when
aforos,
the COVID
teníamos
hit,
un
that
serio
was
problema con las
terrible
películas,
for
no llegaban las
Spanish
películas, de
cinemas.
pronto
And in addition to this,
anunciaban
the
películas,
problem was
metíamos el
that of
cartel, las quitaban,
capacity.
las
The
levantaban,
problem is
porque los
that
números no estaban
we couldn't
llegando.
screen the films that we
Económicamente
were
las
told
salas de
we
cine eran
could.
totalmente
We
insostenibles,
didn't get the
el
reels, we
personal
didn't
de
get
los cines estaban
the
en ERTE,
films.
es decir, que la mayor parte de los
And
trabajadores
the figures were not
no
good
estaban
at
en las
all.
salas porque no
What we were doing
teníamos
was not
ni
profitable
afluencia
at
de
all.
público, ni
Most
horarios
of our
libres,
staff and
era
our
un
people were
poco
staying at
caos.
home. The audiences were
Entonces
not here.
empezó
The people
el
couldn't really
mundo
go to
a
the theatre. It was
decir,
chaos, more or less. And then
vamos a quedarnos en casa, vemos las
And then
películas en casa, o las plataformas que bien han llegado
the
para
world
salvarnos a todos y
started
poder ver
thinking maybe we can
contenidos
all stay at
audiovisuales.
home. That's good.
Entonces nos
We're
dimos
going to
cuenta
have
que
more
teníamos otro segundo
platforms.
objetivo.
We can
Teníamos
watch
que poner
things
en valor
at
las salas de
home.
cine, las salas de
So
cine que
we
es
thought,
nuestra
okay,
casa.
this is perhaps the second objective.
Teníamos
We
que hacer
have
que la gente
to
volviese a las salas
focus
de cine.
on the brick and
Teníamos que
mortar
buscar de
cinemas.
nuevo
That's
ese
our home, and
imprescindible de
therefore we
años
thought
que
we
nos
have
hemos
to
creado
bring them
nada
back.
nuevo,
We
crear
thought
que
that we
nuestras
had
salas de cine, nuestras propias
to
casas,
do what
fuesen
we
un
did in the
entorno
past.
de
There's
encuentro,
nothing
un
new
lugar de
about this.
encuentro. Teníamos
Therefore,
que crear
our
comunidad con
homes, as
nuestros
we call them,
espectadores.
our cinemas,
Nuestros
should be
espectadores
the
habituales en
meeting
España
point.
normalmente
We had to get in
eran
touch with the audiences. Usually
mujeres
in
entre
Spain, the
50 y
audiences
70
were
años, eran las que
usually
nos mantienen activos.
women
Pero bueno,
between
en este
50
caso,
and
nuestro
70.
objetivo común
These
eran
are the
mujeres.
ones
Pensábamos que las personas mayores
that
volvían al cine,
come to
pero
us. But
no ha sido
anyway,
así. Anyway,
the objective that we were sharing was
en
to reach out
esta
to younger audiences.
reunión
We thought that the elderly would come back
vimos quiénes
to the
estaban por ahí
cinemas,
en
but
el
it wasn't the
Zoom con
case.
Irene y Fátima y nos dimos cuenta que teníamos una gran aliada, grandes
During
aliados en
that
nuestras
meeting, we
salas,
realized
en
who was
este Zoom.
there through Zoom with
Por eso
Irene and
quiero dar
Fatima.
públicamente las gracias a
And
María
we
Delgado y a
realized
Juaneras,
also
que
that
además
we
están aquí,
had
porque gracias a ellos
partners.
se ha hecho posible este
And I
proyecto.
would
Ellos
like
nos han
to
apoyado y
publicly
gracias a
thank
su apoyo y a su relación
all
con
those who
el
helped
resto de
us,
exhibidores
because it's
nacionales,
thanks to them, to their
conseguimos
support, that
visitarnos 8
this
ciudades.
project could be implemented.
Nos fuimos de
And
12 a 8 ciudades.
it's
Ahí los
thanks
veis.
to their
Está Madrid,
relationship with
Bilbao,
the other
Burgos,
European
León,
cinema
Oporto,
houses.
Madrid,
We
Pamplona, Salamanca y San
had
Sebastián. Este es
8
nuestro mapa.
cities, Bilbao,
El
Burgos,
mapa
León,
de las
Madrid,
salas españolas
Pamplona,
que nos juntamos para
Salamanca, and
llevar a
San
cabo
Sebastián.
este viaje.
This
Este
is
viaje
the
no se
map
adapta,
of the
este
Spanish
proyecto
cinemas
surge
that
porque
decided to
estábamos
travel together.
en un tiempo
This is a
oscuro
project
y cuando nos dejaron salir de nuestras
and a
casas
trip,
no podíamos
and
viajar, no nos
we
dejaban
managed
viajar
this
entre
project in
ciudades. En España
dark
por lo menos no nos
times.
dejaban viajar entre ciudades y
Were
estábamos con
not
una sensación de agobio,
entitled to travel. We didn't have the right to
bastante
travel at the
inmensa,
time
pero
because of
necesitábamos
COVID.
viajar, esa
So
sensación
we
de vida,
felt
de tener vida fuera, más
claustrophobic,
allá de nuestras casas.
and
Entonces, por
we
eso surgió ITEC
needed
Cinemas,
to
porque
have a life
los
outside of
jóvenes
our
jóvenes
houses.
estaban
So this is
necesitados de
why
moverse, de salir fuera.
ITEC
Jóvenes,
Cinema
mayores de
has is, or IT cinema has appeared because people felt they wanted to get out of their houses. Everybody, old and younger and older people. So it was a trip throughout Spain and throughout Europe. But let's concentrate on our country, Spain, and this is where it all started. On the lower part of your slide, you have all the companies which gathered in order to set up Volando Bengal communication agency, and we created a joint logo for the young people. Let's not forget that we try to attract people between 16 and 30 years of age. So we had this joint logo, and we started from that. We launched a communication campaign, Entrega. We had a banner with a QR code leading to Instagram and a website page. And we asked, where do you want to travel? Where do you want us to take us? So young people, our target audience, went on this, and we traveled to Madrid, Paris, Rome, Berlin, Krakow, Oslo, Stockholm, or Helsinki. Those were the places where they wanted to go. And once we had this urban map, we focused on the young people. We tried to have a good program for a cinema program for the young people. And we decided to have a list of films, not only those who they wanted to see, but those that we thought they had to see. And we were very lucky indeed. We were very lucky indeed with and CAE. We had the support of Irene, Chiara, and those people had managed to set up relationship with other cinemas and us. So once the other European cinemas understood our project, we launched this ITA campaign, Thousands of Stories to Connect. We set up a web page, we had a clip, we had Instagram, we created posters, and also we created those train tickets and the last day we have drawn lots in order for those young people to be able to freely travel across Europe. So we organized about 30 live events. 15 cinema houses started to work together, but we didn't have much time. Between the time we knew that we got the project and the time when we had to implement the project, and the cinema houses were closed, so it was really chaotic. And in Spain, the organization is carried out by autonomous local authorities. So sometimes cinema houses were closed, others were open, and others had only 30% capacity. So it was really madness, but we managed to cooperate. And in the northern part of the countries, at the time, we had a 75% limitation for cinema capacity. But at the same time, there were no masks in the bars, so it was strange. So we tried to cooperate with the NGOs, subtitle companies, for instance, in order to be accessible for all kinds of audiences. And we started posters, merchandising, various materials, marketing materials. We also had to suffer a very large-scale transportation strike in the country. It was really chaotic. Now, how did we go about it? Well, it was like we did usually, but maybe for you it's something new because our technologies are different and cinemas are all different. So we showed live presentations from the cinema houses. We had to learn a lot of things. Technologies, for instance, in each country presented a video with a presentation of the city and the cinema houses. And the teams in the various cinemas showed us their cinemas and their tongue. And we received videos from each country, from each city and each cinema, in order, for instance, to know how to go to the Balzac in Paris, which is a fantastic cinema house in Paris, Le Balzac. And we knew how to go from one cinema to another. So sometimes we went directly to the cinema bar or a coffee house, and it made it possible to set up a real community, to have a drink together in these cinemas, and it was incredible. Sometimes we put a session on sale, and in 24 hours all the tickets are sold out. And we know that if we want to show some European films, they are going to be good, and the audience knows that if we show those films, it's because those are really good films. So they trust us. And we would like to reproduce this experience. We do think it's worthwhile. I don't know whether somebody can start the video, please. It's a summary video. Video resumen. It's a summary video.
Está en la página de... Aquí. Sí.
That's it.
Es que no le hemos avisado antes.
It's going to work. Just wait and see.
Tiene sonido.
Normally there is some sound.
Seguirlo con el subtítulo, pero sí que tiene sonido.
There's subtitles, but normally there's sound as well.
La vamos a conseguir. Bueno, es un video resumen que hemos hecho para poder conseguir financiación de cara al año
in a
que
nutshell,
viene.
it was a clip summing up what we did in order to get some financial support for next year. So we didn't invent the wheel again, but what we did is customize the cinema
En
houses.
Europa la situación no mejoraba, con gran parte de los cines cerrados, aún aislados y sin entretenimiento, los jóvenes se sentían más incomprendidos e inseguros que nunca. Dentro de esta problemática, Europa Cinemas buscaba nuevas maneras de colaborar y generar engagement con los jóvenes. De la Unión Europa-España nació IT Cinemas, una experiencia en la que no solo el público es protagonista, sino también las salas de cine. Una propuesta tan cinematográfica como viajera, que ofrece la oportunidad de seguir descubriendo lugares sin moverse de la butaca. Durante casi 2 meses creamos la posibilidad de una experiencia única y pionera. Eventos simultáneos en 8 salas de cine españolas, conectadas entre ellas, nos abrían las puertas a 8 ciudades y salas europeas. Creamos un interraíz turístico y cultural hecho de frames, generando originales maneras de narrar. Dimos a conocer la importancia de la industria cinematográfica más allá de la ficción, el valor de la vida en sus salas, de sus gentes, las historias de sus trabajadores, barrios y espectadores. Y viajamos en primera clase ofreciendo una cartelera de lujo, con películas aún no estrenadas y clásicos difíciles de ver en pantalla grande. Bajamos el precio de las entradas para que nadie se quedara fuera. Cada noche tras la proyección, invitamos a seguir la experiencia del viaje, celebrando y compartiendo como hacía mucho tiempo. Nuestros jóvenes conseguían olvidar el aislamiento, brindando, comiendo y hablando de cine y de viajes, de infinitas posibilidades. Los resultados fueron espectaculares. Escogimos un día entre semana donde los cines casi estaban vacíos. Conseguimos gran interacción presencial y por redes sociales. Invitamos a autores protagonistas. Hicimos regalos y sorteos de viajes a Europa. La venta de entradas aumentó un 30%. Durante 8 martes, más de 3.800 espectadores se unieron a ITEC. Conseguimos generar una comunidad fiel de público joven, ganando más de un 60%. Nuestro objetivo estaba conseguido.
hablar sobre la película, compartir impresiones, me parece interesante y una manera de socializar a través del cine bonita también. En general todas las películas nos ayudan a conocer esas ciudades y darnos esas ganas de viajar.
Hoy aquí se siente un poco como si estuviésemos en el Festival de San Sebastián o algo así, porque estamos viendo a gente que hacía mucho que no veíamos y nos permite comentarlo
de viva voz después de tanto tiempo separados.
No es solo cuestión del COVID, o sea, siempre es increíble poder viajar a través del cine, pero bueno, especialmente en estos momentos que siempre estamos deseando pero no podemos.
La verdad es que después de ver las películas me han entrado muchas ganas de viajar y de conocer estos sitios.
Yo no pedía nada nuevo, simplemente que exista.
Y eso queremos existir.
Okay, so every project that gets submitted has to go to a jury of people who select the final projects, and they check them up against a set of criteria. The thing that this project scored highly on, I think, was an understanding of the psychology of young people, rather than just young people don't like cinema. It was what do young people like, and the fact is younger people tend to be more internationalist, the social element tends to be important to them, and trying to tap into those seems to be a really critical part of this project. I think the bit that I think you were giving insights on that I think is worth knowing, that jury is also very worried about projects that are big but don't seem credible. It's that you're not going to be able to deliver on a big promise. So how did you get your big idea down to something which was a really winning and believable and credible project at the end?
Bueno, este proyecto nos quedamos a la mitad, todo hay que decirlo, porque en España no dejaban a los colegios, no podían.
Well, we didn't complete this project. In Spain, the students couldn't get out of their school, and part of the project concentrated or focused on the new generation in the senior high school and junior high school in order to show them the diversity of the European cinemas. Now, all of us are working in the cinema industry and cinema houses, and they're all wonderful and different. We have to show that, to highlight that. It seems very important to take the spaces and to bring them to the cinema houses. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to do that, and it was painful for us. And the project is not so simple. Seems easy, but we had to coordinate 16 cinema houses and cinema theaters, and we had to do our usual job. But as well, we had to work on those projects, bringing together these cinema theaters. And this in a time where there was a pandemic, and we didn't have so many staff members. In Spain, we were authorized to keep our staff members with 30 or 20% of their pay. And at one point in time, we thought that we wanted to rehire anybody, but there was a problem there because of a budget. There was a budget problem.
Okay,
this was a cost.
Sorry, we just finished the translation. Okay, I don't remember you saying that many words, but has anyone got any questions from the audience? Let me just put that last one. Oh, yes, we got one here.
Hola, buenos días. Soy de la Fundación Aula de Cine Colección José María Queraltó. Me parece una iniciativa maravillosa. Lo que quería preguntar...
Well, I come from the José María de Queraltó Foundation. This initiative is fantastic, it's great. But beyond the Spanish cinema theaters, how did you manage to coordinate with the other cinema houses from other places chosen or selected by the young people in countries they wanted to visit? No, this was not that difficult. We managed to set up a coordination with some partners, but this, of course, was a lot of work in each country. But in our coordination with the European countries, we had several meetings organized by Europa Cinema in Seville and in Venice. We met lots of people. They are supporting us, and through Irene in Europa Cinema, there were cinemas which we could not set up get in touch with because in Finland, for instance, cinemas were closed, but through Irene, we managed to get in touch with them and make a video because it was a possibility for them to promote films in Spain. Let's not forget that most Erasmus students stayed at home, not only the Spaniards, or the Spanish students, but also all the other students in Europe that were stuck at home or stuck in Spain, in Madrid, in Salamanca. So the idea was to set up a link. Now, if I want to study next year in Milan, to have to show films from Milan, it's great. And to find a similar programming schedule in another country is great. So let's hope that there will be another project, similar project next year. We'll see whether it's more simple when there is no COVID. But it's going to be more simple, of course. Let's hope that the new generations and also the older generations, 50 years of age, etc., will go more to the cinemas. In fact, in Madrid, older people have not all come back to the cinemas, but younger people go to cinemas.
Okay,
so
thanks very much, Barbara. I think that last point is worth bearing in mind. I mean, COVID definitely had a very disruptive effect on developing these projects, and hopefully that is now far behind us. But I think the core of that discussion, which when you're thinking about your own projects, it is that idea that actually there are ways to get into people's heads for younger people that don't have to just be patronizing or downward-looking or old-fashioned. Rethinking those relationships, I think, is at the heart of what you did there and maybe a clue to the future. So let's move over to Latvia and IEVA SIPOLA.
Hello, everyone. I am from most beautiful cinema in Latvia, Splendid Palace. And next year, our cinema will celebrate 100th anniversary. And today, I will share our experience of finding idea and applying for a project supported by Collaborate to Innovate. What is here? When you plan to develop a project, you should prepare. First, you have to set your own main project goal. Then you must be ready to adapt to all involved stakeholders. You must be prepared that there are rules for project funds. Other partners has their wishes and has their own ideas, and the budget is limited. Your concept or project or idea will not always be supported at the first time, but don't give up. Don't throw out project descriptions, ideas. It can all be adapted, improved, and developed in new competitions or funds, and it can be done with other partners. So next, about our experience in this project and how we get a main idea, and together with the partners we have a common thing, and it was education. Our cinema idea was to educate cinema goers, but other one's idea was about education of cinema staff, and so we got this common thing. and common idea, and we started to developing this idea and looking how we can get and how we can make innovations with this topic. And step after step, brainstorm after brainstorm, we came to our common idea. And what I can say here that about this idea is that record all your ideas somewhere, because that is the way how you will be able to adapt it easily to different partners, different competitions and other projects. Yes, we were 3 cinemas from Baltic states, and usually it is not, you can't find project partners very easy and fast. Before Collaborate to Innovate, we participated in some other international fundings, and where the partnership had to be up to 5 members from different Europe countries. And first, what I did, I have been written many emails to many cinemas, and I suppose there are a lot of my emails receivers here. And but so we had a pre-established contacts, and in this project we started to work with them. And so I can advise that use all activities organized by Europe Cinemas, all the labs, meetings, this conference, to find new contacts or friends and do networking, because you never know from what you can get from some conversation, maybe some common idea or some common problem to solve. Yes. When you have an idea, you have partners, you should start to prepare your project application. And one of the important things is key performance indicators. And usually or often KPIs is very formal. Sometimes it is made for project reports or bosses. But remember, if you will have a strong key performance indicators, there will be easier to find focus when you have been lost in your project. KPI will help to find tactic in each of your project phases. Is it design, marketing, strategy, or film programming, or other activities? And about our experience, we have said that there will be engagement 50% of users in digital gaming, but we didn't get that. But don't give up, it's just experience. And what else about KPIs? You have to think what you can measure, what you can count, and what you can compare in your project idea. How we, with the partners, made communication about our project, travel with film education. So I can say that in our project, core things was common. We made main common strategy to all of partners, but tactical solutions was created for each cinema themselves. And I think this was a very reasonable solution from budget view, and taking into account that we had an international partnership and there is a differences in each cinema's habits and communication channels. I can share some advices. Get to know your partners. We all are different. We have a different habits. We have a different working style and communication and view in lifestyles. And divide responsibilities in project partners and also in your local teams. And read all lines in project regulations or guidelines. Read your applications. Then you don't forget your tasks. And as I heard from other projects, I think we all was setting a lot of aims, and from our experience, some of our aims we just forgot, and then we started to read our applications and read, oh, we was promising to do this and this we have to do. So that's why don't stick this all application in all project realization. And believe your ideas and solutions. When you start to work with third parties, don't forget to tell them about your project aim and about your idea. Yes, outcomes from our project. Do not forget to celebrate success. Use your most successful results to continue work with this. Use experience to share with others. Learn from mistakes and do not shame from it. Use it in next projects. And this kind of projects, it is opportunity to test the established hypothesis, it works or not. And from project realization view, as a main coordinator, I can advise to plan a lot of extra hours for project administration, and do not leave things to the last minute. Thank you, and good luck with your ideas.
Okay, yeah, but that's fantastic. In fact, that should be on the website, and it's a reminder that actually for all the entrepreneurialism, actually developing research and development projects is probably not at the top of your core skills. And I think what you're describing here is something, when you're working in other industries with innovation, it's the kind of design thinking approach. If you don't follow that kind of methodology, it really is working with clarity of objectives, with measurable targets, working with a known audience. And I think you've put it really, really well there. I think that's a very valuable pointer, because it's a reminder that the Baltic countries, it's not overflowing with financial largesse, let's put it that way. And yet you can build a project. You can build a project together that is tackling a real problem. And is getting to and is finding ways of working together on that singular problem with a clear solution. And I think the point you're making is, don't just go off on some crazy big tangent. Work out exactly what it is that you're trying to do, and to focus on those clear objectives. So I think that's a brilliant presentation. Really, really enjoyed it. Does anyone have any questions for IEVA? Or points they want to make? Yeah, just quickly, because as it's finished this, I don't think you really, the one thing you didn't do in your very generous presentation is really tell us exactly what your project was doing, so feel free to let us know.
I was thinking about it, that it will be a question. But yes, our idea was to link together education with film program, with qualitative film program, Eurofilms, and this our innovative thing was how to give to young audience something in their smartphones or laptops or some digital thing. And so we came to this idea that we will build a film program through and make diversity of Eurofilms through Europe countries. And that's why it called Travel with Film Education. We had 8 film events, and we made like a digital game about these films, about countries from which are these films, and about side cultural information about country and the film and the director. And so there were 8 film screenings with side events. It was lecturers, Q&As, musicians, and so on. And plus, youngsters has an opportunity to play digital game after screening some time, earn points, and get then reward. And this game was the one for all our 3 partners. And yes, what I can say that youngsters, they like these digital things, but don't waste your time and the money for difficult or very big such platforms, because we can't compare our solutions with some, I don't know, YouTubes or Snapchats or others, these big platforms. Make them something interesting in digital platforms, but not with very big budgets. And what else can I advise? That better is if you are playing these things together before or after screenings, then you can catch more, you can involve more players, not to give them some time to do it after screening.
No, that's a really good description. So timing is really important, but actually those relationships with educators as well, I think, again, partnership is at the heart of this. This isn't just cinemas working together. This is cinemas finding partners and working together on projects. That's fantastic. Well, thanks to Eva. Let me just give you... And if I can just give you the brief summing up, I think we'll beat them to the coffee. It is actually essential with workshops that you get ahead of them. Otherwise, we're never going to finish the day. So, but the really brief overview of this is that what we hear in all of these projects is innovation is not an add-on to the day job. Innovation is now a practical necessity. We've heard they're all addressing problems that you're going to have to face anyway. The days of luxury when you had the opportunity to say, oh, I quite like to do a little game on the side here. This is about how do I get young audiences in? How do I ensure that those events and those and the extension, the social extension of what we do reaches out? How do I make sure that I can afford to do things by working with others so I'm not just constantly reinventing the wheel, and the cinema down the road is dealing with exactly the same problem, is doing the same problem. We have this opportunity that Collaborate to Innovate has put before you to genuinely develop projects to deal with real world, real life, everyday problems with people who think exactly like you do, on a program which has been designed for people, by people exactly like you, that will be judged and decided by people exactly like you. And this opportunity to take, to find out how people are thinking, to work on data, to work on the technology, to work, there are so many different facets. But that last presentation is the one I think is worth keeping in your head. The first pioneers have offered you an insight into how to do these projects and how to make them work and how to do that. That's great. But take this thing seriously. Development is critical here, and I'm being talked to now by Fatima, who's mouthing something in what language? What language is that? Yes. 2023, Collaborate to Innovate, the next one that's coming on. You do need to be working on this now, and this is the perfect opportunity. I think you need to go from this room, speak to the people next door and to each other. There is, put love in the air. I feel there's new projects can be coming. And thank you very much, and we'll see you at the next one.